So in this section, we are integrating audio player because our UI are completed right now. So now we are integrate our audio player, and we already installed audio package, and this is the player of the audio player instance. Currently I want to play the audio file. How can create basic audio player through the play options, and after that we can use the only play options here, and after that here we can create the play options using the play button. This is the audio file, but this audio file set here we need to go to the pub dev, and here we can use the audio players, and this audio players just now go to the sample code which actually need to be implement basic play of purpose. So here is the documentation already have, but at this moment I just use only simple code because this time we need to be access the source link through the play options. We can use here player is a object, and after that we can use directly play, and this time we can use the source file. Here I want to set up the asset path. It is the asset folder path, and here I just simply use the asset path. From this section we can use the asset, and after using this we can be check our player is running or not. So this time our player is working, and when it's working then we could not be stop this play options because we are not use any stop options in our applications. Here we can use the stop options in this section for the stop button because it is actually necessity currently for stop purpose. So once again I just simply run my code. Here my application is running. So at this moment we are seeing the application, and this time our player is working for start, and also it's stop. So play and stop is working, but if we are create a basic player app, so that time it is okay, but we don't create any simple player app. We use multiple audio files will be listed like this. In this section we can get multiple list option. If you are create a web APIs for the fetching the data from the other server, and you want to take that audio file for the player, so that time we are uses the audio provider option, because this audio provider is can be take other online data. If you want to fetch any online data or online API data if you want, so that time you can play the online musics in this section. Okay, so actually this audio notifier and these options actually can be fetch the audio data through the states actually connecting through the player to songs, because this is the actually another widget, and it is the another widget because audio player UI is a another widget. It's a sub widget of the home screen widget. Okay, so this is the home screen widget, and here I link the player widget. But if we want to play the sound, so that time we can directly put the sound through this process because here have parent child options. But if we don't have any parent child options, so that time we can use provider class or state class for to manage our audio files. So here we can create some process which can be manage our data through the provider. Okay, so thing is here we can be set up the songs URL through the sum function, and that particular songs data can be observed or can be set up in this player options, and after pressing the songs name, and that songs will be play into this player. So this is the actually basic idea which can be implemented. So this is the actually big thing, but I tried to it simpler. How can we manage that process? So this is the actually thing where we can be set up the audio like this, and after that we can get the audio through this process, and this audio want to observe through this way. I just create some functionalities in this section. Here we can create void on play functions. Actually I am using here, but at this moment I just cut this options from this section, and after that I just paste the data here, and after that we are getting the output from this section. So now I cut this functions from here, paste that functions into this section. When I paste it, and after that we can simply use on play directly like this, and if we are doing this here, after that we can get the output as it is as per our need. Okay, so this is the play options, it's working properly. But after that we can use on stop, and here is the on stop options, and we can create player stop, and then we can set up the stop functionalities with the set state and playing false. So when it falls, so then we are get the play icon like this. So this is the actually functionality, and every functionality already implemented. So now we just simply calling here on stop functions here. So this is the two things which already implemented here. But here I have directly audio data response setup here, but we want this setup are actually processed automatically when our audio player are initiated. So that time we can create init state process, and after that we can use the player set asset source, and after that here we can use the asset source like this. Okay, so this is the actually basic thing which can be used after this process. That means when our player are initiated, so that time we got the basic asset setup for this process, and after that we can play that value after using this. Okay, so how can do that? Here we can use some options. When it's true, that means right now it's false, and when it's true means play are true, then it will be play. If it's false, that means it's pause, and after that if it is true, then player will be resume. So this is the process where we can be play the audio. So after that we can play the audio through this process. So at this moment we actually see in the output with the reverse way. When I put the play options, so that time we have fast false options getting here. We just remove the false options from this section, and after this we can be reload our application, and when I press the play button, then our music are running, and when I pause, so then our music is paused. Okay, so this is the basic process where we can be functionalities are developed through this process. So this is the actually process where we can be manage our sound. So first thing, actually here I am not managing any states currently. just by managing the player functionalities, how can we work properly? So this is the play options and stop option. But when it start to play, that time I want to check the player value in this section. So how can manage that value? We can be use here some other options. When our player is running, so then we can see the observation which call on progress, PROGRESS, on progress, and it is the functions where we can see the progress on our player data. So on progress, and at this moment we can set up the progress options, and here we can see the player durations like this, and also we can set up the sigbar, which is the current time. So this player durations is need to be set up for the global position. So here we can already set up the player total duration is 0, so that means this is the total duration where we can be set up duration value. So at this moment we can be set up this all the durations and everything as per our player progress. Okay, so this time we can use the player on duration change, and after that here we can use the player durations setup as per this process, because here we can get the duration as event, and after that we can get the event value in seconds, but in seconds is not required. Here we can take in milliseconds because it is actually required, because here we are set up the value 0 to 1. Here we can set up it millisecond, and after that here also required on position change, because it is actually most important, because when our positions is changed, so that time our sigbar value will be changed with the duration. Here we already get the value in the milliseconds, and that milliseconds value come into the integer or double whatever, but we need to be subtract the value, because here we are actually put the value 0 to 1, not bigger than that. So for that purpose we can subtract the value with the total duration, and after that our duration value will be get the 0 to 1 value. 1 means our value are completed, and 0 means our value not be completed. Okay, so this is the actually process, and after that our player can be completed, because when our player will be completed, when our player is complete, after that here we can use the stop functionality use here, and also we can set up the our sig value 0, because this is actually important to change. Okay, so this is the progress options, and these progress options are can be uses here, and this set state options does not require in this section. Okay, so this is the actual process which can be used in our application for the player functionalities. Okay, so this on progress options can be used when we are actually calling these functions into this section. Okay, why? Because on progress are working with the build function, because build functions are continuously activated when our player is working. Okay, here we just start the process, and after starting the process our value is set up properly, and you can also see the our sigbar continuously progressing. Okay, so this is the actually sigbar is working fine, and if we want to change our sigbar and then our player value also be changed, if we want, So that time we can changes the process in this section. So for that purpose, here we can set up the value in this section. Okay, so this is the section where we can set up the value in a millisecond, but here problem is we can get the value through the 0 to 1 value, but we need to be that value multiply with the total duration, because if we are not multiply with the total duration, then our value cannot be work properly for the seek bar options. Okay, so for that purpose we can set up the value through this process, and then our progress bar working properly, actually our seek bar is working properly using this process. Okay, now I just playing the so our player is working and our seek bar is also working, and when it is work properly fine, then we can shift it all this thing into the another function. So for that purpose I go to the above section, and after that we can create a function's name void on seek bar change, and this is the actually process which can be required. We can also create these functionalities for this section. Okay, so this is the actually value which can be used here. Okay, so you PLE double value can be used here, and after that this need to be removed, and actually we can use this value in our function, and this on seek bar change function can be initiate into this section. Okay, so this function name can be set up here, and after using this we can see the output as per our requirement. Okay, so this is the actually working fine, and after that if we want to try to mute, and then here we can create the mute function. So you already know about how can we create the function state, because this time we are using the local state, local application state. This time player states are most important. We can change the set state on mute change, and here we can use the mute option, but this player dot mute function not available. So for that purpose what we can do, if our player is muted, then we can set up it as a 0, and else we can set up the value player dot set volume as per volume value. If we set up the volume value here, then our player is mute unmute are working with this function. Okay, so these functions can be registered in this section. Okay, so now we can just replace the function name with this section, and now here our mute options can be our mute options is working now. Okay, so this is the actually process where we can our mute options also working, and after that we want to change our volume option, and for that purpose we can go to the above of this button, and here we can use the set value option. We can use the double, and here we can use the value, and this is the value where we can change the volume change option. So this is the function, and these functions can be change our volume of the value. So here we can use the volume, and then our volume value will be updated here. So this is the function, and after that we can change the everything in this section. Okay, now it's working fine because this time the value is changes. So that time volume is down and also volume is up through this process. So this is the actually process where we can change the value as per our requirement. Okay, and I think it's working perfectly fine as per our requirement. So this is the thing which can be implemented. So this time our all the functionalities working fine. Okay, now one more thing, we need to be connect outer state because at this moment we try to set up the value from this class. So that time we can use directly set up the value through this process. Okay, so what is the thing? I just explain the simple process and then I can talk with some elaborate way. So this is the simple way. If we are converted this stateful widget like this is the stateful widget, and after that we just simply use it like this way, and after that we can create the string audio value like this, and after that this value can be set up to this process. Okay, so this time here is audio. When we are click, so that time here is the value will be set up, and after that it is the default value are set up here. But if we use any value in this section, and if we are set up the this section, so this is the two way where we can set up the value through the constructor value, because this time if our value are changes here, so then our value also change in this section, because here we can send a parameter for audio, because we actually inject audio file in this section. So for that purpose here we can use the string audio audio file can be used here, and after that we can simply use the audio file section at this option. So when it actually set up here, so after this we can get the audio file through this section. Okay, now we can use the modifier options at this moment, and because if it is used, then here we can use the audio file for the audio input. Okay, so audio input parameter can be passed the value through this section. And why we are getting this issue, I already discussed, because here I have const option. If we are use any const syntax into the dynamic type widget, so that time it may be get some this kind of issue. So this is the actually process where we can see the some problem. So this is the problem. Okay, and now if we are change the another audio, and then we cannot see the value changes option at this way, because this audio file not be subscribed into this section, because when it's initialized, after that our value need to be set up in this section to change our value. Okay, when it actually set up, and after that we can set up the on progress function can be called here, because when the value are changes, then our progress were working with this audio source. Okay, now I try to change the value, so this time value is not working. Okay, thing is value may be changed, but here we did not use the set state functionalities to change the audio file. So basically thing is our parent component or parent widget does not set up proper value actually. So this is the actually process where we can change the value through this process. Okay, once again we can check this section. Okay, now it's working. Okay, so now it's working as per our need. So this thing is we can set up the value through the parent child process. Okay, so this is the good way to change our value, but also we can try our audio state through this process. Okay, so this is the one way where we can be used. And another thing is, because when it is for single screen audio player view, so that time we can be used like this. Okay, I think you can understand the way how can we create the audio player step by step, and how can we create the player options into this section, and after that how can we set up that value through the parent widget through this sub widget. Okay, here is the actually setup is the value which is the parent widget value, and here we can set up that value through this state, and after this state value are changes, so then we can observe that value through the another widget. Okay, so here is the parent child options. So for that reason we can be set up the value through this process. Okay, but we have also another way. We can use the riverport state provider which actually created, but in this video we cannot be discuss it because my video is a little bit longer. So if you are like my video, so definitely hit the like button on this video, and if you are new in my YouTube channel, so subscribe my YouTube channel. If you have interest to learn about this thing, so you must be subscribe my YouTube channel and see the next videos where we can discuss how can we manage with the riverport state into this play option. Okay, so we will be meet with you the next video.